My guest for today is a Las Vegas-based stylist who specializes in creative hair color, hair extensions, event and session styling. You can find her educating both as an independent and platform artist for brands sharing color knowledge and styling nationwide. She is a celebrity stylist and works with Cynthia Bailey, Tori Spelling, and Angie Martinez. She was on season 1 of American Beauty Star and made it to the season finale in the top 3. She is in Hot Tools Hall of Fame. My guest for today is Chita Beseau. How are you today?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm so good. Thank you so much for being on here. I'm so excited to have you. I have so many questions to ask you.
Okay, go ahead. I'm
All
ready.
right. All right. So, where are you originally from?
I'm from a farm town in Central Valley, California, right next to the Monterey Bay. It's called Salinas, California.
Okay. And what did your mom and dad do for a living when you were growing up?
My mom and dad both met at a candy factory. Um, yeah, and I love that on my birth certificate it says for my dad's occupation that he's a candy maker. Like
Oh, that's so
uh,
cute.
I love it. So yeah, they met there. But then my mom left. I want to say maybe by the time I was 3, and she worked for the federal government. My dad and my mom both retired from their jobs when it was time for them to.
So, what did you guys enjoy doing when you were growing up?
Well, my dad would get me on the weekends. My parents were divorced from the time I was probably 3. And so my dad would get me on the weekends and he would take me with him to either church or he liked to barbecue a lot. So he'd have friends over. Um, and he taught me a lot there on those weekends that I was with him. He like taught me how to groom his bushes and trees and we did a lot of landscaping in the backyard. I'm sorry, my cats are fighting right now. Okay, they're gone. They're gone. Um, yeah, so I mean, he would take me out to like festivals. He would take me to Mexico every time he went, like for around the holidays or in the summer. And my mom, she worked graveyard shift a lot from the time I was probably in kindergarten until I was about in the 6th grade. So she had a really close friend of hers who was like my grandma, raised not raised, but me and my brother stayed at her house for the most part, and she took me out.
Yes.
Okay, is
You're
it
good.
better now?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, her and her husband would take me and my brother hunting. And that they had a lot of animals. And so that was really nice being able to do that. She taught me a lot of like arts and crafts and things like that.
So, how old were you when you knew that you wanted to do hair?
I was doing hair, I think from the time I was 11, I was doing my own hair and my friend's hair, just experimenting, with hair color mostly, never really styling. But I was doing that from the time I was 11 until I was about 19. And then a lot of my family kept telling me that I should go to beauty school, and I wanted to go to art school so bad. And beauty school sounded really lame to me. And I remember I was like, ew, I don't want to do hair. Like all I could think of was like doing people's hair that I didn't want to do. Like there was a certain type of hair that was fun to me, but I really didn't want to do hair. So I did end up going to school when I was 19 for a couple of months, and I ended up dropping out. And then I had a friend that she actually graduated, and I would go visit her on my days off, like throughout my 20s. And I just loved hanging out with her at the salon that she worked at. And I always thought it was like so cool to just hang out there all day. It was so fun. It just always made me feel so happy to be in a salon, like whether I was getting my hair done or just hanging out. I just loved it. And I want to say when I was right after I had moved to Las Vegas in my 30s, I wanted to do a career change. And a friend of mine, her husband was a correctional officer. And at the time I was doing dealership accounting, and I wanted to get out of that, but I kind of wanted to go back to beauty school, but I was really reluctant because I was a single mom at the time, and I knew that benefits and health insurance, you know, and a retirement plan and all that was really important for me. That was stability, you know, I felt. And he told me that the Department of Corrections would hire me. They were looking for women. And so I just flipped a coin. I said, you know what? I couldn't make a decision, so I just flipped a coin. The coin said, go apply for the prisons. They ended up hiring me. But I did that for about 3.5 years, and I noticed that I was watching people groom each other. You know, I was watching the men braid other men's hair. I was watching the girls braid. I was watching them do the eyebrow threading. I saw women in there who were hairstylists before, and men who taught themselves how to barber. And it made me realize that you can, whatever you put your mind to, it's just the time that you put into it that is going to give you the results. And I figured, you know what, if I put enough time and effort into it, like that I have, you know, and I have freedom, I could do that. And so that's when I decided to leave. I took my retirement out and I left, and I went to school for full time for 1 year without working. And
Wow.
I couldn't even imagine everything that this field has offered me, you know.
Wow, that's beautiful. I really can't imagine you working in a prison. I mean, you're so colorful, you know, like even your shirt right now is just so
Yeah.
cute, colorful, and friendly.
I feel like that's kind of what I learned. What was really important in there is that, like, I was stuck and confined into a place that I could not express myself. You know, there's so many rules down to, like, you can't even wear um, perfume, you know, or body lotion because they smell it, or, you know, and then you just have to shut yourself off. And I realized I don't want to end up like this. I didn't do anything to do time like this. You know, this just isn't for me. And that's when I decided, yeah, I want to go to school and do this, and I want to be happy.
That's such an inspirational story. Oh my gosh, because that was a really big risk for you, especially having children and a retirement and all these different things that a lot of hairstylists don't have or salons don't offer. So what a huge jump and what a huge risk for you to take. And it's amazing. I can't even imagine the salon and hair world without you in it. I mean, it's just so, yeah, I mean, everybody who knows your work is happy you're here and a part of our industry. So I'm so glad you made the choice and made the switch, and you're inspiring so many people.
Thank you.
So, what was your first love when you first started doing hair?
I first fell in love with hairstyling, you know, updos and event styling. And I really wanted to learn how to do like session work and create um, like competitive hairstyling to enter into like different awards shows. Like, that's really my dream and my goal. It's funny because, you know, they say competitive, but I don't feel like it's competitive in the wrong way. I kind of look at it as a way to express your artistic visions. And every contest has its judges, and for whatever reasons, whatever they're looking for, that's what they judge on. And so it doesn't really necessarily make you the best or the worst. And it's just an opportunity to just, I don't know, kind of just celebrate each other and see what you can make to inspire others and see what inspires you. So my first love was hairstyling, and I moved forward in my salon, and I like gained clientele because I was the go-to that would do hairstyling. And I just took a lot of classes and just really focused on that.
So, how long did it take for you to actually start to feel successful?
um, I would say about a year ago I started like an inward focus on like what was I doing, you know, where I wanted to go and what I was doing. And I realized that, you know, I am such a good friend, and I love to like cheerlead all my friends on, support them, and my friends are the same with me. And I realized that I needed to be a better cheerleader for myself and kind of just experience the journey and like live in the moment and realize like what I've accomplished, what I'm doing, where I'm going, instead of just running blindly and capturing everything that's coming at you. I just really wanted to focus on living in the moment. So yeah, I want to say it was about a year ago. I still sometimes don't feel like, of course, like I've accomplished much. I don't, I'm pretty hard on myself, because there's a lot of things I want to do and be a part of, in the world.
Success is kind of one of those things that I think everybody looks at it differently. Everybody decides what is success to them. And then once they've been able to reach that goal, then they feel they've accomplished something. So it's not like a normal measure, right? Like everybody has their own ladder that they're climbing.
Yeah.
But one thing that I hear you saying is that you're constantly pushing yourself to reach for more goals or different goals or higher goals. And I love that because I think sometimes hairstylists get in their own head about why isn't it enough? I've accomplished this, but why am I still not happy? But really, I think it's just a matter of your ladder to success and continuing to grow and to climb. Would you agree?
I do agree with that. I feel like you got to be happy in the moment. You can't look at happiness as, something that you attain. You got to practice being happy now and being happy now, being happy in the moment. And if you're doing something that doesn't necessarily make you happy, doing it. And I'm not talking, is my internet okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're
Okay. I'm not talking about like, feeling uncomfortable doing things, because we all know that that's growth. You can feel uncomfortable and still be happy about what you're trying. And I've just, within the past year, I've told myself, look, whatever I do, I just want to really enjoy it, because that's what I left everything for.
yeah.
And that's why I'm doing this now, is to be happy.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm sure so many people can relate to that, and they feel you on that. Especially now, it's like with the coronavirus and everything that's going on, we have so much time on our hands, and it's almost shifting the way we think or what we do or what we say yes to. What type of lessons have you learned from having time on your hands?
Um, I have actually had more time on my hands, and I said yes to a lot more communication. I I think that it's made me realize that I do work hard. I always will, because I'm working hard here from home too. I'm getting up every day, trying to exercise. I eat right. I'm trying to be out in the day, the sunlight, like at daytime hours. And I don't know, just being compassionate with people. I think that, this has all put us on one level where we're all kind of trying to figure it all out together.
Yeah. We've never been here before. Nobody has been here, so nobody has any idea what to do. Yeah, you're
You
absolutely
know who does? The people that are like
the
at
people.
home are those people that are at home that, oh man, they're like one step ahead of us.
Definitely. Yeah, I think a lot of hairdressers can't sit still. We like to constantly be moving and communicating and thinking about what we're doing next before we've even finished what we're doing now. So, uh,
Wow.
yeah. So this is a learning curve, I think, for all of us. It is exactly what you're saying, to just sort of slow down and appreciate what it is that you have. I think a lot of us tend to push people away, but now that people are away, it's like, wow, I really miss them. It gives you an opportunity to miss them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know. I really miss people. I'm sure a lot of people do. I miss being able to see my family. Actually, I am here like with my husband, and my daughter lives at home still, but I don't get to see my mom and my other daughter, and my grandkids. And so I just kind of, I FaceTime a lot of people.
Yeah.
I encourage people to FaceTime.
Yeah. So what type of things inspire your work?
Um, I get inspiration from nature. I also like to look at like um, photography. I like to look at like animals, skylines. I usually look for a lot of inspiration when it comes to hair color, to see how colors lay next to each other, how they gradually blend into each other. And that's how I get a lot of my hair color inspiration. I like to look at like cultural, I like to watch like really cultural like documentaries to get ideas about hairstyling.
Mhm.
Um, and I like to look at like old, like the history of hairstyling, and watching something. Usually, I'm usually looking at the hair,
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
So you being Mexican, your culture has a lot of beautiful colors and fabrics and all that. So I'm sure you get a lot of inspiration from different things like that as well.
I do. It's really, really amazing that almost all of the cultures across the world originate with some type of like indigenous background, and they all actually start out with super bright, colorful, like outfits and like, hair accessories and like braiding, of course, and wig making. I mean, if you just look up any culture, you can find like the history of hair in it, and it's super interesting.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. So, would you say that you're more of like a gym and meditate kind of girl, or are you more of like a pizza and beer kind of girl?
Oh gosh, I really wish I was a pizza and beer kind of girl.
Yeah.
I think I used to be a pizza and beer kind of girl, but as I've gotten older, I'm like, no, you can't do that. And I think especially working at the prison, I was like, I do not want to be a pizza and girl kind of person, because most of the people there would go do that. So I would say I'm more of a gym meditation. I just recently, this past year, found yoga because I'm super, super active and hyper. You know, I never thought that I would be into yoga. And now that I found it, I started Kundalini yoga, which is like a healing yoga and big stress reliever, and teaches you how to breathe. And now I'm like, wow, why didn't I do this years ago? It's not what I thought.
I am very much into exercising and, taking walks and doing all those types of things. And I tried yoga and I do not like yoga at all. And maybe it's just because I haven't found the right one, I don't know, but I'm just not into it. And I've tried multiple times. I can meditate and do all kinds of things, but yoga is just not for me. I don't know why.
Yeah, I know. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard and it's still, but I think I like Kundalini yoga because it focuses on breathing.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't know. You should try it.
Yeah, I mean, and the truth is, I probably don't know enough either, because I'm being a hairstylist, I pop in and I'm like, okay, this has been 10 minutes, I'm bored, I'm done.
Telling you, that's how I always felt. Like, no, I don't have, I could be doing so many other things. And yeah,
So maybe just some time will tell if I can actually get into it or not.
yeah. I feel like everybody has their own time.
Right.
And when it
So
happens, it happens.
So we talked a little bit about you taking risks. Now, were there any fears that you actually had to overcome to get where you are?
I would say one of my biggest fears was because I had just come from working in the prison, opening up to people, in beauty school and after, like, But one thing, I was really afraid. I mean, even down to my social media, which is, I know, very surprising, but I was afraid to let people like know who I was, where to find me, super, super highly kind of paranoid, because you have to put up a wall when you're a prison guard and not let them know too much about you. So this is like, has been completely opposite, where I'm sharing, I'm teaching, I can be good to people, I can inspire them, I can make them smile, I can make them feel good about themselves. This has totally been something different than what I was doing. And it was scary, and it has been scary. It helped me in a lot of ways. It helped me find compassion for people, not people. I don't even ever ask my clients what they do for a living, because there was a recession at one point. I never want them to feel uncomfortable. It's not about like, interrogating you and who you are. I want you to feel happy and beautiful and experience this just like I got to experience it in my friend's salon, years ago.
I love that. So you sort of let them open up to you. You don't necessarily force anything on them.
No, and I'm actually really comfortable with silence, both ways. Like I can talk to people, but I'm really with silence too, because sometimes people just, it's nothing personal. They just want to sit there.
Yeah.
And I think I've had to explain to some of my assistants, like, look, you got to be okay with it. They're okay. You're okay. It's all okay,
Right. Yep. Sometimes that's all it is. And being a good hairdresser like you are, it's learning those cues and the people, you're with, and just allowing it to be what it is and creating a safe, comfortable place. Like you said. Yeah. Very cool. So what did you have to do to overcome some of those fears of putting yourself out there?
I just had to do it. I just did it. Just like I've done everything else in my life. You just do it and you don't think about it, If it's something that you really want, you just do it. There's no other way.
Just go right for it.
You just do it.
Yeah. I love that. So tell me a little bit about the time that you were on American Beauty Star. Was it amazing? One of the best experiences of your life? Give me a little bit.
Yeah, it was one of the best experiences of my life. I I got the email one day, and it said, if you're interested, send us I forgot what it was. Anyways, I sent them a little 5-minute recorded interview, and I had to drink, actually. I had to drink like a bottle of whiskey. It was a small bottle, but I had to drink, and it was just my daughter recording me. But when you have to talk about yourself, you can talk about like what you've learned, but to be able to talk about yourself and not like downplay it, and just, express who you are and be proud of who you are, it's not easy. So it takes practice. But they ended up, casting me, and they asked me if I was okay being I think it was a team member. So what they did was they had a contestant who had, I think, starting out with 10 contestants, and they paired them up with one teammate of the opposite. So I got teamed up with a guy that was a makeup artist, and so they asked me if I was okay being a teammate, and I was like, yeah, I want to go on TV and do hair, like, yeah. And they were like, well, some people aren't okay with that. They want to be the one that shines. And I was just like, no, like, no, I'm okay. I just want to experience this. And so, yeah, it went on. I just was so happy that I was able to do hair, because it was only hairstyling. It was all hairstyling. It wasn't color or anything. I was teamed up with a makeup artist, and they actually kept us away from each other all day. No phones. And so when we came together around 6 o'clock in the evening, after waiting all day in our green room, and they put us together on TV, that's when they told us what our challenge was going to be. So we didn't have access to Google all day. You know, we don't know what they're going to say, and they just tell us right then and there. And we had to learn how to communicate with each other, to like create something that we both visually saw, but we had to communicate that with each other. And we became great friends, me and Andrew. We're still friends. We're actually going to be doing a makeup tutorial this week, so that's going to be pretty cool.
Oh, that is going to be cool. I can't wait to see. So I'm just kind of curious about if you had to give inspiration or words to somebody who wants to do what you've done in your career, what would you tell them? What advice would you give?
I would tell them to, I mean, anybody at any level, is that what you're saying?
Sure. Yeah.
I would say, you know, start sharing whatever you are creating, whether it's behind the scenes at a photo shoot, whether it's, you know, the end result, your before and afters. Talk about what it is you're creating, you know, in the salon, in your salon suite, and reach out to brands. Say, share the things that you're using, because that's when brands like pick up, you know, and want to share what you've created. And it's just, you're going to grow. You're going to grow. Your clientele is going to see it. They're going to start getting, you know, super excited for you, and cheering you on, with anything and everything you do. They end up sharing it with their family and friends, you know, and it's really sweet. Like, just the support that you get, you know, in the hairstylist community, like online as well as offline.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. You know, we've spent a really good amount of time understanding where you come from, where you started, you know, and how you got through all the things that you got through. And you have fears, and you've had to take risks and overcome obstacles just like anybody else. And you know, I realize that time is so extremely valuable, and I really, really appreciate you spending your time and your words and your expertise with me and my listeners today.
Thank you.